Ladies and gentlemen, it's Monday, so you know what that means. It's all new episode of the Rap Lab podcast. It's your main man, the Candy Man, the ALFRE to the D.
What up, what up? It's the one and only, the only one, all caps, no spaces, the Rev Barber MC.
And it's the one and only True G, aka the Good Doctor, the Queen's guy. What's up, y'all?
Ladies and gentlemen, we were planning to bring you the hip hop news on this episode. However, with recent developments that have gone on in the world of hip hop, namely last week, as we were recording last week's episode, um, we found out that we lost PNB Rock. Whether you were a fan of his music or not, um, it's an unfortunate loss. Long story short, the man was in Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles in LA, dining with his girlfriend, and somebody rolled up on him, came to rob him of his jewelry, and in commission of the robbery, shot and killed PNB Rock. And so today we wanted to address a serious matter. Normally we have fun on this show. We joke, we laugh as we bring y'all the news or as we talk about a topic. But today is a bit serious and we're very somber today. And we're going to talk about a real problem in hip hop, and that's rappers getting killed. And first let's talk about the topic at hand. Again, the man was at Roscoe Chicken and Waffles, just eating a meal. Rev, we'll start with you. What's your thoughts on the whole situation? How did you feel when you found out what happened, the details of what happened, and where it happened?
I honestly dread doing episodes like this. We've done one, I feel like we've done one recently about deaths in hip hop. This is garbage, and I've spoken about this countless times, made videos about stopping the violence and awareness, especially with our hip hop guys. And Jim Jones did once say that this is definitely one of the most dangerous careers, and I a million percent still agree with that. PNB Rock is I was not too big into his music, but him himself, he was actually a pretty cool cat. Like, I've seen him on interviews and other things he's done, and he was pretty humble. He wasn't one of these guys shoot 'em up bang bang or repping gangs or anything like that. He was just about his family and just making the music. And he is from Philly. Shout out to Philadelphia. I know it's a big loss for them. And he does come from pretty much a rough neighborhood, but he's trying to do what all these guys are dreaming to do, is leave the hood and make a better living for himself. And he can't even go and enjoy a meal with his date. And people say, oh, well, she posted the location. Well, you should be able to do that. You should be, especially, if you're trying to just have a meal. I don't understand, what the big deal is. And I get that, wearing the jewelry makes you a target and stuff like that, but how about we just leave each other alone, And I've spoken in the past about just giving passes to certain rappers and entertainers, especially the ones who are pretty much carrying the flag for us. But I feel like just hip hop in a whole, just leave us alone, because it's our own people doing this to each other, and it's garbage. It's like I said, I hate doing episodes like this, man. We really it shouldn't be, but I know we have to touch on this because we're definitely the aficionados and the representatives of this. But like, it really hurts my heart that another rapper is slain after we've spoken about this before, man.
QG, your thoughts and opinions?
This was very disheartening. I mean, the man died at the age of 30. And much like Rev said, I'm with him on I wasn't really into P&B Rock, but looking at the interviews and stuff he was saying, he seemed like a pretty cool, chill guy. And then I did my research and I looked back at the songs that he did do. And I was like, oh, I heard these before. Songs like Selfish and Cross Me and Changes. And he was on the Double XL 2017 cover. So looking at what happened, yes, you should be allowed to go where you want to go with no problem. You should be allowed to wear what you want to wear without any issues. But we don't live in a world like that. And We do cover these topics, as heartbreaking as they are. We want to make people aware of the problem. And the problem is not hip hop, the problem is society. Society does not get better. And when it gets better, people will get better. And there's some reports that we did look at. The autopsy has finally been put out, and the man was shot. The wound was to his back and into his chest. And we have new reports about his mother. The body has finally been released, and she was very, very adamant about getting that body. And things got heated between the family now. Now there's a family matter here over what's going on. So, more reports will come. We will find out more. And since it's ruled as a homicide, the medical examiners, they have to conduct an autopsy by law. The mom didn't want it, but when it's ruled a homicide, you have to do it. The LAPD is involved. This was a murder. So, we pray for the family, we pray for everyone, and we just want peace, out here. I was thinking of a solution when I heard about this story, and what needs to be done. People need to come together. Whether we got gang culture, we got drugs, we got guns. You're not going to get rid of the gangs, you're not going to get rid of the guns, you're not going to get rid of the drugs. You have to find a way for things to coexist. And we don't live in a world like that. If you want to wear $100,000 chain, you should be able to wear $100,000 chain, in my opinion, without jealousy and envy and people trying to kill you.
Well, this situation is so multi-layered. It's crazy. Ice-T recently made some comments. Um, I'm not gonna. I don't remember exactly what he said verbatim, but he said something to the effect of, "Well, me and Cube and Dre, none of us wear jewelry when we go out because LA is a dangerous place." Um, Q, you're a Ice-T fan, so I'll ask you, what do you make of that statement? Do you even think Ice-T was should have said something like that to begin with? Or do you think he should have left it alone? Do you think he's right? Um, and on top of that, before you answer that question, just keep in mind, um, literally the day after he died, DJ Academics, regardless of whatever you think of him, released an interview that he did with PNB Rock the week before, where PNB was he went on to say, and I quote, "Where I'm from in Philadelphia, we like sneaky criminals. LA, everybody's bold." What do you make of Ice-T's comments and PNB's comments that obviously didn't age well?
I understood what Ice was talking about, and coming from where he comes from, he said it. LA is a dangerous place. You see this thing about sunshine and Hollywood and all this. It's that's a facade, and him being the OG and him coming from that lifestyle, I'm sure they asked him, what do you think of that? And he let it be known. And he's right. You've never seen Cube and Dre and Kendrick and Snoop or none of these guys be extravagant like that while they were out there and about, because they understood, hey, this is Los Angeles, this is California. And if they see you got something that they don't got, they're going to come get you. And them being a lot older and a lot wiser, they get that. And I'm sure they had people to guide them and let them know, hey, be careful here. I'm glad you brought that up too, because this takes me to a story of Snoop Dogg when Snoop Dogg first met Nas. You guys know about this?
No.
Oh man, let me put you on. This is back in 1994. This is when Snoop is established. This is when Nas is established. And Snoop is on his block playing dice with some Crips. Nas is in California and he's rolling around and he sees Snoop Dogg and he gets excited because he's a fan and he wants to meet him. This dude Nas runs out of the truck wearing all red and he's running towards Snoop. And Snoop's homies are like, "Yo, what's going on?" Boom. They start pulling out their straps. And Snoop look at the guy running at him and he recognizes him and he tells his boys, he's like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 hold on, hold on, hold on. That's Nasty Nas from New York. Y'all chill, chill." So Nas runs over, pounds Snoop, gives him a handshake. He's like, "Yo, Snoop, what up, man? I love you, man. Just wanted to meet you, say what's up." And Snoop is like, "Yo, I appreciate that, homie, and I respect that. But let me tell you something. Don't ever run out of any vehicle wearing all red in this neighborhood. If you want to come through, just call me, man. Let me know, man. But don't ever come through here wearing all red." So Nas had to learn that real quick. And mind you, these guys were in their 20s at the time. So today there's no guidance. There's nobody to teach you and tell you, yo, you gotta be careful out here. You gotta watch this. You gotta do this. Ice T had that. Dre had that. Snoop had that. Kendrick had that. I don't know if PNB Rock had that. And you're right about that comment. It didn't age well. It's kind of funny what gets brought back up after it's said when a situation happens. It's kind of eerie, man, and scary at the same time.
Right. And Rev, let me ask you a question because you're in more into the hip hop world than me and me and QG are. And you operate a place where people can come and hang out. Your barbershop is a public place. Does this situation or situations of the past ever put that worry in your mind or no?
Well, you know, I'm not gonna lie. I've had a couple incidences where people have ran in and chased people they were beefing with, and I'm no more special than anyone, but you do have to stand your ground as an owner of a business and let people know that this isn't the place for that, because if you don't, they're gonna continue to roll over you. And things happen. You can't stop it. The world is just the world. So you just got to be prepared to the best of your abilities. And speaking publicly about this and keeping all legal aspects at the forefront here. Business owners in New York City are definitely entitled to owning a gun, and there's very, very, very strict laws about that. You can't just pretty much go flashing it, and you can only fire at a certain range, and you can only use it in order to pretty much protect yourself. You can't just pull it out and just wave it around or flash it. It has to be like a real trill situation. And they give the owners this responsibilities because of occurrences like this. As far as like being like super involved in the hip hop world, as an artist, excuse me, and someone who's done like shows and just like in the thick of things, as you mentioned, it is a lot of ego. It is definitely a lot of bravado from artists, and it's like one big like excuse my French, but like a big like dick slinging contest. No homo. Like everyone is trying to like look better, be better than the next person. Hip hop has always had that. There's always like some kind of unsaid competition between like the artists. Just like probably within these past 10 years, artists have been way more communal and definitely have collabed more. But even at these shows or even at some battles, I've been to a couple battles where like we've had to leave early just because like things were getting out of hand. And luckily I'm here today still in the physical, but things got really ugly at a couple shows I went to. And it just sucks that like hip hop has this, because this won't happen at a rock and roll show. Like these guys won't. They'll have mosh pits and stuff like that, but these guys won't be shooting each other. The worst they do is hardcore drugs and shit. And I'm not advising anyone goes to these concerts to do that. But all in all, man, we just need to chill, man, and just let that go and just let people just express themselves through the music and just continue with the artistry.
And Rev, you just said something that sparked a thought in my mind. You don't see this type of thing happen in other genres of music. Rock and roll, it's very rare that you see an artist murdered. The last the last rock star that comes to mind when I hear the word murdered is John Lennon, but that was a one-off situation. John Lennon from the Beatles. But yeah, you don't see this happen in any other genre of music, not in pop, not in rock, not in country. It's only a hip hop thing. QG, why do you think that is?
I think because hip hop coming from the streets and the people that are engaged in hip hop, you have to look at their background. They come from aggressive backgrounds, broken homes, broken families, where there aren't a lot of opportunities. Not to say that the rock stars or artists in any other genre didn't have it hard. It's just more seen with rappers coming from certain neighborhoods and growing up in certain environments. It's competitive. And you see somebody, let's say, for example, all of us come from the same hood and we're all doing the same thing. One of us has more success than the other two, but we see each other almost every day. And then we start to ask ourselves the question, what am I doing and what is he doing? How is he able to get this far when we're all doing the same thing? So when you see that, it can cause tension, it can cause jealousy, it could cause envy. And we've seen that done in hip hop. And it's become like it's expected now. Like there are media outlets that ask rappers questions. Well, if you were to start a beef, who would you beef with? Why are you going to ask that person that question? What are you trying to cause? And when the situation happens, it stays in the streets. There's been situations with other artists in other genres that have had issues, but they respond subliminally that you might not know about with certain lyrics and certain lines. Like I've read reports of certain rock stars going at each other, certain reggae artists going at each other, certain R&B artists going at each other. Let me give you an example. Michael Jackson and Jermaine Jackson had a beef. Did you guys know that?
Really? The brothers?
And I'm going to tell you why. Because Jermaine Jackson was jealous of Michael's success. So what did Jermaine Jackson do? He came out with a song called Word to the Bad. And this is when Bad came out. And we already know the success of Michael Jackson's early work. So Jermaine sees this and he takes it to a record. And if you didn't know subliminals, you wouldn't have known who he was talking about. But then when you really pay attention to it, you're like, he's talking about his younger brother. Michael didn't respond, obviously, but what Mike did was, when he's winning awards and more success, and when he thanked everybody who helped him, he said at the end, I even thank you, Jermaine, which was kind of like a little jab, but it goes to show you that Mike heard it, he paid attention. Obviously, cooler heads prevailed later on because God bless Mama Catherine, and she wasn't going to let that go down like that. I'm sure the other brothers had to talk too. But you see, even in that world, the pop world, something like that can happen. So hip hop is aggressive, and it's become expected that there will be confrontation, there will be issues, and not just with other rappers, with people on the streets. They're going to come at you. They're going to test you. So it's natural,
And
unfortunately.
and to go off your point, because you just said the key word, and Rev said it earlier as well. You just said the people off the street. Rev said it's not even us doing it. I mean, it's not rappers killing other rappers. So that brings me to my next point. And let's take a like if you think about the recent the shootings over the years, um, and we can even go way farther back in time. Biggie obviously killed in a killed by a non-rapper. Tupac killed by non-rappers. Triple X Tentacion was in a motorcycle dealership buying a motorcycle, killed by somebody who's not a rapper. Pop Smoke is in the shower. They go to rob him, killed by non-rappers. Um, I don't know. We don't know who killed PNB Rock because they haven't revealed it yet or they haven't found it yet. But I'm pretty sure killed by a non-rapper. And it's crazy because these celebrities are getting killed. And rappers historically, you have your gangster rappers, you have your dangerous lyrics, shoot 'em up, bang bang. Um, but again, it's not. other rappers that are killing rappers. Rev, why do you think that this is happening to rappers and they're just getting plucked off the earth by civilians?
I just think it just comes with the game and the stuff that they rap about or just their surroundings and the people they hang with. And when you get into this game, you kind of have to expect certain things because it's not like you're, I don't know, say like uh, I Love McConan or somebody in that genre who does like R&B hip hop. Those guys aren't really getting into any beefs, and PNB Rock isn't like the most thorough cat as far as like his music. He's not rapping like how MOP is or anything like that. But these guys, going out and wearing the jewelry, posting locations, you're making yourself a bit of a target. And in a perfect world, you should be able to do that and enjoy the fruits of your labor and the spoils by wearing your jewelry, going wherever it is you want to go and eat and having a moment with your lady or whatever it is. But in this game, you can't do that. You can't do that. It's just, I think our culture, there's just a lot of jealousy, a lot of envy, and everyone's looking for a come up, like an easy way to get cash. I mean, even Pop Smoke, those guys robbed him. They went into his house after seeing online all these receipts and everything like that, and just a lot of envious people in our culture, man.
And it's funny because as I was making a point of stating, a lot of these guys were just doing normal things. Nipsey Hussle was just hanging out in front of his store. Young Dolph was buying cookies. So these people can't even do everyday run of the mill things. I do want to touch on what Rev said about sharing locations. Because Pop Smoke also suffered the similar fate because there was an address on a shipping label on a package he received that was shown. Which is crazy to me. But what do y'all think? And I'll start with QG first. Do y'all think that these people should be more low when they go out? I personally think like if I'm that famous, I'm not even sitting down in a restaurant. I'm either taking the food to go, or these guys got to have publicists or assistants. Have them go pick up the food and bring it back to me. QG, what do you think about that?
I I agree with you, and it's because when you reach a certain celebrity status, you have to be very, very careful because people are watching. There's wolves out there, there's hawks out there, there's sharks out there. Like you can't let everybody know everything. That's why I always talk to people about social media. You can't put everything up there because what does it do? It opens up a lot, whether it be confrontation, whether it be people getting all in your business. Like you can't even just go out on a date with your significant other and just sit down and have food without people coming at you. You can't go out shopping. You can't do nothing. You can't even go out with your kids. There's been plenty of things that I've read of rappers just hanging out with their families and their kids, and then boom, people coming up. Oh, they saw a picture of them being here, so they're gonna be there and all that. So I'm with you. Like, if, I'd rather just be somewhere without people knowing. Like, and I always go back to Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson had the hardest time going anywhere to the point where he had to wear disguises when he went out. So just imagine rappers having to do something like that. And I think with certain rappers, they had to know. And Rev touched on this in prior episodes, and so did you, Candyman, about the Notorious B.I.G. When the Notorious B.I.G. got all that success, you think he was going to stay in Bedford Stuyvesant? Hell no. He bought an estate out in New Jersey for that particular reason. The more money you make, the more problems you get. And we talked about Nip. Nip can't even be on his block doing business without somebody coming at him. The man was shot 10 times. Triple X in 2018, gunned down after he left a motorsports store in Florida. Like, come on. Like, so for me personally, I'm not putting on any locations. If I'm there and you see me there, cool. But when you're at a certain level, you got to be careful. And I wanted to add on what you guys were saying earlier. That's why you see a lot of these rappers roll with big entourages, people from their neighborhood that probably stay strapped or part of a gang for protection. Some of them roll with bodyguards, security for that particular reason. So yeah, I agree with you.
I'm gonna get real controversial at this part of the conversation. And you said it, QG. They roll with security or an OG from a gang.
Yep.
Make sure they don't get touched. Then you have other rappers out here like 6ix9ine. Obviously, none of us are a fan of the young man, but he's been known to roll deep with heavy security. Do you think? And I'll ask you this, Rev. Do you think that it's getting to a point where these rappers, when they go out in public, should be rolling with heavy security detail, or you think that's too far fetched?
No, they got to do what they have to do to protect themselves. Ain't nothing wrong with having security around because you only got two eyes and you're focused on whatever it is you're there for, whether it be eating or, hanging with a friend. And, it's good to have eyes around and, look at your surroundings. I don't know if this dude did have security or anything, but maybe if he had security or something like around, like this could have been prevented or they could have saw it coming. But no, back in the days, they used to like, rag on people who walk around with security, but like times have changed. Things have gotten way more treacherous out here. So security is not a bad thing. You're protecting yourself. You're protecting your life. I mean, you need to protect your life by any means necessary if you're in this game at this point.
No, but then that's very correct. And I no, and this is no offense to any of our listeners in LA, but I think LA is the problem because granted, not everything happens in LA, but a good majority of this stuff happens in LA and it's been going on for a long time. Biggie gets killed in LA. Tupac, even though he got killed in Las Vegas, the killing has ties, strong ties to LA. Of course, we mentioned Pop, we mentioned Nip, and now PNB. And like you said, PNB Rock, chill dude, cool dude. But it's just crazy to me that those comments from that DJ Academics interview, literally just a couple of days before he gets killed, the guy was like, "Nah, I've never been robbed, and where I'm from, we like sneaky criminals, but out here they're bold." Like it's like he's foreshadowing that something was gonna happen to him. My next point, and Q, you could take the reins. PNB didn't share his location. His girlfriend shared the location. A lot of people on the internet, from what I've seen, I've seen comments on articles and Facebook posts, and they're blaming her for what happened. Do you think that's fair, or are people dragging it a bit too much?
I think people are taking it way too much. This is not her fault. She had no idea that something like this was going to happen just by posting his location. I think that is just foul, man. Like, they shouldn't do her like that. We live in a world today where social media is everything. There's people who live on social media. They were going out on a date. She was happy. They got dressed nice. They were ready to go out. That's it. I don't I don't even think she was even privy to anything that was going on prior to that. Because correct me if I'm wrong, didn't PNB Rock mention that he got into it prior with some altercations before this incident?
I've heard people say that, but I haven't read or seen anything that came straight from him. So I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't I don't know why people do that. I don't know why people were coming at her. The girl just lost her guy.
Watched
Wh-
him get killed, mind you.
Right. She was there. Something could have happened to her as well. If something would have happened to her, I dare say, would people be like, oh, well, she shared it. They both got killed. It's still her fault. Come on. Where's your heart? You know what I'm saying? And it just got me so mad that they were doing her. Even the LAPD pushed that narrative. They put it out there saying that um, social media and everything like that could have been a part of that when they're doing their investigations because they saw that the girlfriend's whereabouts they were being tracked. So it's not her fault. She had no idea this was going to happen. How do you know? This world we live in is crazy and it's dangerous. How do you know it's going to happen? You know what I mean? And pictures
Well,
were shared of
well,
gift bags and shopping and all that. Like, yeah, so they was just hanging out.
so here's my point that
Hmm.
I'm gonna make. You have
Hmm.
to be a real cold person, because PNB Rock, yes, famous guy. His girlfriend is not a public figure. His girlfriend is not a
Hmm.
rapper. His girlfriend is not an actress. She's not a social media influencer. She's a regular human being. She's like you and I. She's not famous. So for somebody to know who she is and watch her social media, because she was posting on her Instagram story, it wasn't regular posts. So for
Right.
somebody to know who she is and know whose girlfriend she is specifically, and and watch her story to track her down so that they could get to her boyfriend, that's some pretty sick shit, don't you think?
Very sick.
And it just goes back to like Rev said, he doesn't like making doing episodes like this. Neither do I. Neither do you.
Hmm.
Um, it's just sickening. I wanna talk about what Nicki Minaj said after the whole thing went down. Nicki Minaj said, after Pop Smoke, um, we shouldn't be out in public revealing where we are, especially. And this was the part of the comment that actually struck a nerve with me. She said over a picture of some damn waffles and fried chicken, and she's not the only person to mention the waffles and chicken. Rev, I ask you, do you think that all these people are focusing on the wrong things when they bring up taking a picture of the food, or do you think they have a point?
I think they're focused on the wrong thing. Like, how can we combat this? Like, what solutions do we have for this? Like we talk about having security, but like, why don't our people want to do better? Why are we every year or every 6 months or so? It's like someone that an artist is in the media for getting killed or gunned down. Like, what can we do to stop this? What can we do to not have to read these things on social media or anything like that? Like, that's what people should be focused on, and maybe giving like harsher sentences to people who do these things could set the example.
I agree with you, and I'm gonna even go out further on a limb. Whoever robbed PNB, um, if you're planning to pawn that jewelry, I don't even think you can, because the it says P the it's a P and it says PNB on the chain. You walk into any pawn shop, they're gonna know that's stolen goods, because there's only one PNB Rock. He wore that chain all the time. Everybody knows what that chain looks like. I'm pretty sure whoever committed this atrocious crime, if they are gonna pawn that if they are gonna pawn that chain, they're probably gonna have to go out of state, probably leave the coast even to get rid of that. So I
Sorry
don't
for interrupting. You want to hear something funny, guys?
sure.
There was another tweet that followed what Nikki said, and this is from Hip Hop All Day. Nipsey was killed outside his own shop. Triple X outside a car dealership. Lil TJ outside of a Chipotle. Pop Smoke in the Hollywood Hills. Dolph at a cookie shop. And now P&B at a Waffle House. You see how crazy it's getting in these public places? Like you talked about bold earlier. In public, in broad daylight, everywhere. Like it's just like nobody cares anymore where you are or what you're doing. They're gonna come kill you. And Rev was saying it earlier. Why are people focusing on the wrong things? We need to focus on doing better. Better is the only way. And it's like
And and
this is the worst.
and all of it is not even public, because Pop Smoke was home.
Yes, he was home. They were and it was the day after that party, right?
Yeah, he was home.
Yeah. He was home. Yeah, he was chilling. But what I was saying is certain areas and certain places where you are, it's like it doesn't matter where you are or what you're doing. When they want to come get you, they're gonna come get you. And
And
that is just horrible.
and you know what the troubling part of this is. So, like for example, we brought up Pop Smoke. Pop Smoke. If you read the details of what happened, he willingly gave them the jewelry when he realized he was being robbed, and they still killed him. PNB Rock. I've read conflicting things, but but according to the video, which I can't find the full video anywhere, they said that they shot him and then took the jewelry off of his body, which that's even sick. Guys bleeding all over the place, and you take the jewelry off of him. So that's blood-stained jewelry, but I digress. But to Rev's point, I don't think there is a solution for this problem, and like you were saying earlier, QG, these rappers should be able to go out and get a meal. They should be able to go to a store, you know, and they
Yeah.
can't do simple everyday things. And it just makes you think you're not safe anywhere because whether you're out, whether you're home, like you just said, if they want to come get you, they're gonna come get you. And I've always and not just hip hop aside for a second, just life in general. I always feel that you have to be the coldest motherfucker possible if you can take a gun and shoot somebody. Reason being is because you end two lives when you pull that trigger. The life of the person you're shooting in your own life, because this camera's everywhere. You're gonna get caught. Um, they caught the people that killed Pop. They caught the guy that killed Young Dolph. They caught the people that got Triple X. They caught the guy who killed Nipsey. He just got convicted. We talked about it on the show earlier in the year. So you're gonna get caught, and this happened in the hood. Roscoe's is not some 5-star chain restaurant. It's in the hood, and people in the hood. Word gets around really fast, so people are gonna. It's not like the '90s or the '80s anymore, where you get cold case murders that go unsolved for decades. We're in 2022. Murders usually get solved at some point, especially happen in a public place. And that murder was caught on camera because it happened in the restaurant. And you just got to be a different type of individual to do that. Because yeah, this guy, he killed PNB Rock, but now if they catch him, he's probably gonna spend the rest of his life in prison. So it's crazy to me. Um, like, and I'm not gonna pretend to be the biggest PNB Rock fan. Like you said, QG, there were certain songs on the radio that I heard. I didn't know the name of it, but if you played it, I would be like, yeah, I heard that before. There was only one real song that he did that I liked, and that was he and Meek Mill and Jeremiah did "Dangerous" together, which was one of my favorite tracks on the Championships album that Meek dropped in 2018. But um, I just feel like this whole situation is cold, and I feel like this is worse than the Nipsey Hussle. Because at least the Nipsey Hussle situation, Eric Holder knew Nipsey Hussle. They were acquaintances. This is some random shit, and it's disappointing. And even as somebody who doesn't make music, I feel like we all gotta like watch ourselves now and what we post. And I've been very guilty. Every time I go to a Mets game, I'm always posting I'm there. Granted, it'd be pretty hard to find somebody amongst a sea of 40,000 people, but you know, um, it just makes you second guess yourself, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I agree with you. And like when you're out having a good time, and when you're before you post, they give you the option to put exactly where you are. I avoid it on purpose because I've seen situations and heard situations where a friend of mine was on Snapchat. We used to work together, and he put something out on Snapchat. He had his location on, And somebody at our organization came to him and said, "So you was out here doing such and with such and such." And he's like, "How'd you know that?" She's like, "Your Snapchat, the location." And I'm like, "You see how people are? Like, you, you you can't go out and enjoy yourself and somebody come, hey, I saw you here and you did this, you did that. So that's my business. But when you put it out there, it becomes everybody's business. But even then, I don't want nobody coming up to me and say anything unless I tell you where I was at. It's a personal thing, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's a it's a drop catch. You know, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
And you know, and sometimes you have to post where you are. Like and going back to Rev for a second. Rev, you make a lot of posts in the barbershop, but that's your business. You're advertising for people to come in. So it's a different thing with you. Um, but as far as like when you go out to places, does this situation have you second guessing about tagging where you are?
No, I don't think they want anything with me. I'm not in that kind of tax bracket yet. So maybe when I do become in that tax bracket, I'd be a little more cautious on what it is I do and post. I read that people were saying that he should or people in general should post their locations after they leave, which that's pretty smart. But you're in the moment and you're enjoying the moment. You want to share this moment. You don't after you leave, you're not really thinking about, oh, let me post where I just was. You know what I mean? I know it's different for like rappers and entertainers and stuff like that, but as far as I go, yeah, no, I'm gonna keep posting my location in the shop because it is a public business, and I hope people do come for a cut. Not anything else. Because if they come for anything else, it won't be good on all ends. Trust me.
Yeah, we like this is too much now. It's this has got to stop because, like I said, in all these situations, these guys weren't seeking any trouble. Some guys going to get meals on dates, other guys going to buy motorcycles, guys buying cookies, guy taking a shower in his own crib, and it seems like nobody is immune. And this like I said at the top of the show, there's so many layers to this situation. Um, and then the questions of should you be out in public? If you're out in public, should you have security? Should you not tag your location? Like it's crazy to me. And I highly recommend if you can stomach it, everybody out there, regardless of what you think about DJ Academics, go watch that interview he did with PNB Rock. That was filmed just literally days before the situation happened. And you know, just it's crazy because the way PNB Rock was talking, he didn't think that such a thing would happen to him. And it's pretty sad situation. I guess we'll wrap it up. QG, you got any final thoughts about this situation you'd like to share?
Yeah. Earlier, I mentioned about possible solutions, and we've seen this sprinkled in years and years to come where they've tried to unite the gangs to come together because we have so many out there. You got the Crips, the Bloods, the Kings, you got all these different gangs. We've seen truces and peace treaties attempted that didn't last too long. But we have now have so many that can form their own communities and build their own things. In the beginning, the gang culture was about protecting your own, helping your own people, taking care of your neighborhoods. That's when the gangs were originally meant to be. It all stems from the Panthers, and then the Kings, when they got together, it was to protect their own neighborhood. If you can take all of that, have one representative for each, you can control your own environment. You can bring things, put people together, navigate the drugs, navigate the guns. Depending on who you ask, There's reasons for all of these things. And we here at the Rap Lab, we don't advocate violence. We don't advocate none of these things. But like we all alluded to today, none of this stuff is going anywhere. So now it's time to take control and organize and do better for the community, because you have innocent people that are getting caught in the crossfire of this tidal wave. There has to be control done. Babies are getting killed. Do you people out there realize that I am a lot older than a lot of these rappers that are dying? God bless that you could even reach your 30th, because they used to say you couldn't make it past 25. If you can make it past 25, you are blessed. But we are losing rappers that aren't even making it. So something needs to be done. We need more control, more order. The politicians are not the ones that we can rely on. We have to save ourselves.
Fair enough. Rev, you got any final lasting comments on this situation?
I really hope we don't have to do more episodes like this, and it's not looking good. But I, I don't know what it's gonna take for the people to wake up. I mean, we talked about how if they try to pawn the PNB Rock chain, they're obviously gonna find out who did this. But I'll stick to what I said about giving more harsher penalties for engaging in acts like this. And I just hope like the justice system steps in and really sets the example. And maybe we could cut this shit out over time, and we won't have to do more episodes like this.
Yeah, and I'm with you. It's one thing to do an episode like the DMX episode we did, or Biz Markie, guys who died of health reasons, but to do an episode because rappers keep getting gunned down is a whole totally different thing. And like you said, you Rev, and for those of you out there who watch videos on YouTube, early this year, Rev did a video on gun violence and hip hop that I recommend everybody take a look at. And I'm with you. I hope this stops. I hope I don't want to have to read or watch a news report about another rapper whose songs I've heard getting killed. It's getting out of hand now. It's too much. Yeah, the news reported that it's one rapper a year, but one rapper a year is still too much. Still too much. Nobody deserves to die, especially to get their life taken from them at the hands of somebody who wanted a chain or wanted money, or or in the case of Nipsey, just petty jealousy and street beef. So yeah, man, I'm at a lost words. I don't even know what else to say on the matter, but this is out of hand. It's got to stop. So so that we'll wrap this up here. Of course, if you guys got comments on what happened or have a perspective, email us at raplabpod@gmail.com. I'll be honest with you, I don't even know if we'll touch those emails, because this is a sickening situation. I don't think I'm in the mindset or the mood to read or ignorant responses in our email inbox. So if you got something disrespectful or dumb to say, I'd rather you not reach out this go around. But yeah, so we'll see y'all next week, and hopefully we'll get back to the Rap Lab that all of y'all people know and love, the fun loving, joking, informational podcast, and not this heavy, serious stuff. So, but this is another episode of Rap Lab, and we out.
Peace.